What's up, everybody? It's your boy Falcon Empire here, and I just want to make a fun two-parter video when it comes to predicting the stats for the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball for our Atlanta Falcons. Now, if you guys like this type of content, hit that like button. If you guys hate this type of content, hit that dislike button. It won't hurt your boy's feelings, well, maybe just a little bit. But also, if you want to do a huge favor for your boy, by hitting that subscribe button, it will help out the Empire grow. So on that note, if you guys like what I say, cool. If you guys disagree with my statements, hit that in the comment section below what you think the Atlanta Falcons stats will be. So on that note, let's dive into the video. We're going to start out with our running back committee first. First on the depth chart is going to be Bijan Robinson. Now, Raheem Morris, our new head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, said that he's going to have like a Christian McCaffrey type of role. So last year, we all know he played in 17 games, had 214 carries. He ran for a total of 976 rushing yards. By the way, he should have broke 1,000 rushing yards easily as a rookie. We all know that. For some reason, Arthur Smith didn't give him that opportunity. Of course, he had 4 total rushing touchdowns, but when it comes to the receiving end, I thought he did a pretty good job in Texas, but he really blew me out of the water for collecting over 58 receptions and receiving 4 total touchdowns in that department. And so if we keep that mind aspect for his second year, I think he's gonna outpace that what he should have done earlier in his rookie season, where I predict him to have 230 carries, 1,200 total rushing yards, 12 amazing touchdowns, and for receptions, 60 receptions for a grand total of 600 receiving yards and 5 total touchdowns, because that's what Christian McCaffrey has done for the 49ers and with the Panthers to an extent. So I'm looking forward to seeing that coming to fruition. So now let's talk about our second string running back. Tyler Algier is such a beast. He's the bulldozer. You know, his rookie season is legendary for us in the Falcon community. Have over 1,035 rushing yards. He got 53 total first downs for us. Of course, in his second season with us, he kind of got depleted a little bit. Instead of that 210 carry his rookie season, his second season 186, and then 683 total rushing yards during that time. But he did increase his touchdown percentage by 4 compared to 3 his rookie year. So when it comes to the receiving part of the running back committee, he does a pretty average job. Not excellent, but not bad either. He gets under 200 total receiving yards so far in his past 2 seasons with us, and he has 1 touchdown each of those seasons, so it's not bad. He doesn't get targeted a lot, but he does catch most of the receptions he gets targeted. So when that's decided, I think he's gonna get 160 carries, 630 total rushing yards, 4 total touchdowns when it comes to the rushing game. So when it comes to the receiving end, I think he's gonna snag 15 receptions for a grand total of 120 receiving yards and 1 total touchdown. And mostly I think he's gonna have a little bit of a down year because we're gonna throw the ball a lot more, and of course Bijan Robinson is gonna get more of the carry for this time around, but still pretty good. So now let's talk about the rookie. I'm very excited to see how the Atlanta Falcons is going to use Jason McClellan in this running attack, because I'm a huge Alabama fan, and I am so excited for the Falcons to draft him in the 6th round, because honestly, he could have been in the 4th or 3rd round if he didn't get injured back in 2021, where he tore his ACL, ending his season. But back in 2022 through 2023, he came back with revenge. He didn't break 1,000, rushing yards, but that's okay. What I really like about him, he's a small 5'10", power back. He will bulldoze you as well, like Tyler Algier does right now, and he gives you at least 6+ rushing touchdowns. He's pretty good with his hands when he gets the opportunity. So I think he's going to surprise a lot of Falcon fans, where he's going to get 50 carries, 370 total rushing yards. He's going to give us a whopping 3 rushing touchdowns, and for the receptions, I don't think he's going to do a lot there, but I'm going to give him 7 receptions for 50 receiving yards and 0 touchdowns. And I think that's pretty good for a rookie that has to compete with Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. Oh, and I totally forgot about this. If you guys don't watch a lot of Alabama film, he is really good reading the gaps, finding the correct holes, and go after 5+ or more rushing yards attempts. So that's a real key factor to watch for his rookie season. So now let's talk about the final running back. So I have A.V. Williams as the 4th running back committee. Now some depth chart might have him as the 3rd, but I think they want to make sure that he doesn't re-injure his season injury ACL tear he did last season before the season start. So I'm going to give him 20 carries, 120 rushing yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 receptions for 20 receiving yards, and 0 touchdowns. I think they want to make sure he's healthy, maybe do some punt return or kick returns. So I don't think he's going to be used a lot in the running back room when it comes to the committee. So now let's talk about the wide receiver room. Our superstar wide receiver in Drake London should have a breakout year. I'm actually kind of shocked he didn't break 1,000 receiving yards since 2022. Now, honestly, he's not the burner like we were hoping he could be, but he's more of like the hands and move direction type of wide receiver. He still gives you almost at least 70 receptions per season of catchability, right? He gets targeted over 100 under 20 targets anyways. The touchdowns, I like to see him a little bit more because honestly, last season it was kind of disappointing, only 2. I kind of forgot about that. But now we have Kirk Cousins at the helm. I think that's going to change dramatically. So I'm going to give him 84 receptions, 1,120 receiving yards, and then a grand total of 8 total touchdowns because his rookie season he had 4, and that's with Marcus Mariota and whoever was. Oh yeah, that's right, Desmond Ridder. And then in 2023, Desmond Ridder was starting, and then he got benched, and Tyler Heineke came in, and then he got benched, and flip-flopping quarterback. So obviously, Drake London has not had the success we were hoping he would, and I don't really blame him. I just blame the situation with Arthur Smith has dealt. So on that note, now let's talk about the other guy, our free agent pickup veteran and Darnell Mooney. Now this cat was really good back in 2021 where he eclipsed 1,055 total receiving yards and 4 touchdowns with Justin Fields, and we all know that Justin Fields is not really a good passer. So this case, he's going to come back with that 1,000 receiving yards. I'm going to give him 70 receptions for 6 total touchdowns. Now he's been kind of banged up in the past 2 seasons, but that's okay because now he's getting a refresh and a new start in a new city. And remember, his target level was really decreased when he had that monster year where he was targeted 140 times, caught 81 receptions. But for those past 2 seasons, there were under 60 targets and less than 40 receptions he gathered. So Kirk Cousins, I feel like, is a lot much better quarterback. Consistency of passing the ball around. No offense to Justin Fields, because I am a fan of his. But now let's talk about our third string wide receiver. Kadero Hodge is definitely one of those wide receivers that goes to place every couple of seasons. So far as the Atlanta Falcons, he has had his career with us. Over 200 plus receiving yards in the past 2 seasons. He got 20 plus targets. Only caught less than 15 under receptions with us so far. And I think he just needs a good opportunity. Now we did see him doing a pretty good job against the Minnesota Vikings and the Tennessee Titans when he was targeted a lot, got over 60 plus receiving yards in those 2 games. So what I'm thinking, he's going to get 25 receptions, 380 total receiving yards, and 2 total touchdowns. And I think that's a really good comparison for what I think can happen. So now on to the next one. So when it comes to Ray McCloud, I think the Falcons are probably going to use him more in the kickoff returns and maybe the punt returns as well. But he has done some receiving with the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the 49ers. And they're not bad for a guy who just mostly does special teams. So I'm going to give him 17 receptions, 220 receiving yards, and 1 touchdown for the Atlanta Falcons because he had reached over 200 plus once with the Steelers and once with the 49ers. So I think that's doable. So now let's talk about the final wide receiver. KC Washington is definitely that tall, 6'1" receiver that you're looking forward to see what he can bring when he's going to jump with everybody. Now, in Illinois, not really impressed, but then again, I have never really watched any Illinois games, so I can't really judge on him on his statistics there because I haven't personally watched him full game. But in his senior season he did a pretty good job. 670 total receiving yards, 49 receptions, 4 total touchdowns. He's never got a touchdown in his entire college career until his senior year. So obviously there's a lot of things he needs to improve and grow from, but what I saw in the preseason, I was kind of impressed. So I'm gonna give him 12 receptions for 160 total receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Maybe like in the final game where Kirk Cousins just gives him wide open. And I think in the future he's gonna be a baller if everything adds up in the right direction. So now let's talk about the tight ends. Kyle Pitts is going back to his old form, back to his rookie season of how he handled his business, where he broke records for a rookie tight end, where he was targeted 110 times, caught 68 receptions for a grand total of 1,2600 receiving yards. Of course, the 1 touchdown wasn't the best, but he averaged 15.1 per receptions. But unfortunately, 2 things happened to him. Number 1, we traded Matt Ryan, where I disagree on how we did that. And number 2, he got injured during the Bears game in his second season against Brisker, where he tore his ACL or tore something. And then in 2023, he came back, after that devastating injury. He played all 17 games. Of course, his targets with 90, caught 53 receptions for a grand total of 667 total receiving yards and only 3 touchdowns. That was the career high. But now with Kirk Cousins at the fold, Kyle Pitts is gonna go back to his golden era with 75 receptions with 1,003 receiving total yards and a whopping 9 total touchdowns for Kyle Pitts. And if you guys don't know that Kirk Cousins does a really great job with his tight end positions, you can look down when he was used to be with the Washington Redskins. So on that note, let's talk about number 2. Charlie Warner is a very interesting tight end because he's mostly a blocking tight end for the 49ers since 2020 through 2023. Now, he had some opportunity in the receiving game, not so much. So on that note, I'm going to give him 9 receptions for 60 yards and 1 touchdown. Yes, his first touchdown in his collegiate career. So now let's talk about the final tight end. Ross Drelly is another blocking tight end, but he has a little bit more experience in the receiving game. Now, he's been playing with the 49ers since 2018 through 2023. Now, his career year was back in 2020, where he was targeted 24 times, caught 19 receptions for a grand total of 245 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. But I think the Atlanta Falcons are going to use him with 8 receptions for 100 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And now let's talk about the quarterback situation. Kirk Cousins was having a monster year back in 2023, playing 8 games, 2,331 total receiving yards, 18 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, 216 completions before he got taken out. So that being said, he's been doing a pretty good solid year, since, probably I want to say like 2015 through 2023, up to that point, where he was constantly giving you at least 25 plus touchdowns per season. Not so much high on the interceptions, but at least averaging 10, getting over 4,000 passing yards as most. So, on that note, I think Kirk Cousins is going to have even a bounce back season. He's going to give you 420 completions for 4,839 total receiving yards, because I add all of this stuff up, by the way, so it's not like it came out of nowhere. And then he's going to give you 35 touchdowns, and I think for the interceptions, I think he's going to give you at least 12. So, but I do know he is a runner, so I don't know how much he's going to run because, we don't want him to get banged up. But I think he's going to carry the ball in certain situations. So I think he's going to run it 15 times for a grand total of 80 rushing yards. And he's definitely going to give us a rushing touchdown because so far in his career, besides the injury, he's been always getting a rushing touchdown ever since 2015. So now let's talk about Michael Penix Jr. He's going to be the backup to Kirk Cousins, so he's going to sit down and learn and watch and how everything goes down in the NFL. So now let's talk about the kicker. I couldn't figure out where to put the special teams unit in, so I figured why not with the offense because they do score points. So Younghoe Koo has been a little shaky in the preseason, but it's the preseason. So I'm going to give him 30 attempts, and he's going to make 26 because in the past 2 seasons, he had 37 attempts and made them 32 times. So he usually messes up around 4 to 5 field goals attempts in general. So I think that's a pretty good altitude there. And plus, the reason why I said he's going to have 30 attempts compared to 37 is because Kirk Cousins is going to score more points and going to give Younghoe Koo better field position if we do have to make field goals attempts. So that's why. So on that note, So obviously my prediction all depends if everybody is healthy for the offensive side of the ball. So if they're not, it's definitely going to change some variables. But if you lasted this long to the very end of the video, thank you so much for taking your own personal time and day to watch these Falcon content videos. I like making Falcon videos for you guys. So on that note, what do Falcons do? Rise up. Until the next episode, show love and peace to the world, and peace.